Aloha all, this is Michael here. I'm going to talk today about fear factor and what that means in relation to my book called The Psychology of Religion. Basically, we are becoming more aware of how governments and religions are using fear to control and manipulate us. And once we know what somebody's intentions are, then we're able to better ascertain what we can learn from whatever information they are providing to us. So, in regards to the value of religious doctrine in the form of written texts, what we can understand is that there is profound wisdom in all of the world's religions. And if we are honest about seeking truth and becoming more aware of why we exist and really any other existential questions that pop into our minds, what we can do is use fear as sort of a filter or a gauge. And if we, for example, face something that we fear, then we're allowing ourselves to begin the conversation so that we can better understand something that we are only becoming more aware of. So when we don't understand something, then we are confused, and that confusion causes us to be anxious and fearful. So instead of being prejudiced against, let's say, a religion and ignoring everything that is offered through the practicing of that religion, including the reading of whatever religious texts there are that explain the spiritual experience of the author of that part of the story, then what we can do is recognize these feelings, use them as guides, and we can trust that the feelings are there to help us. So even the notion of being afraid, it, it's perfectly natural to be afraid. What we're not designed to do is live in a constant state of fear for long periods of time, because that causes stress on our body. It causes us to basically allow ourselves to become sick. And really, what we're becoming more aware of is our ability to make free will choices so that we can become more aware. Whenever we accept the truth in anything, our conscious rate of frequency increases its rate, and we will expand our awareness at the same time. And it's really about allowing information to come into our physical bodies so that we can process that emotionally, mentally, and physically. Turn that information into usable information called knowledge. And then when we share that, it's wisdom. So I'll say a really great example of how things can be misinterpreted is the part of the creation story regarding Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve were not being disobedient, they were actually choosing to become human beings. So it's really a story about the acceptance of free will. And if you choose to believe that you are supposed to always do as you're told and not question authority, well, you're going to be living in fear, because the consequences based on what you're taught is not just death but eternal damnation. So it's really an interesting paradox, if you will. This idea that religion does have value, but it's also a way to manipulate people through fear-based dogma. This idea of being damned to hell for eternity. I mean, who wouldn't be afraid of that? Well, the truth is, nobody knows what happens when we die. We're only supposed to know one thing for certainty, and that's how we are currently feeling. When we learn to trust our feelings, which requires faith, what we can do is learn how to have the conversation between our consciousness and our awareness so that we can become more aware and increase our knowledge, which makes our consciousness oscillate at faster rates, giving us more power. Knowledge is power. And everything is moving, everything is changing, and nothing is permanent. And anything is possible. So, trust your feelings, believe in yourself, understand that you have the ability to increase your knowledge and become more aware so that you will know and better understand anything that you wish. Namaste.